Hello everyone. Hope that you all are fine. As today we are going to start the new topic, that is what? Real numbers. So you might be in a confusion mind. Sir is telling that I am going to start a real number chapter and something different is there on the screen. What exactly it is? Yes, definitely. What exactly you are telling is 100% correct. It's a Bahubali movie. In the beginning, you can see that lady, to save this child, okay, she has picked this boy in his hand. But why I should go for this Bahubali pick over here when we have to go along with mathematics and that to be real numbers? Why? Because, see, just I want to tell you that life begins with numbers. How come? Just recall your memory once, recall that when you are born, what exactly your parents has done? They have noted the time of your birth. Thereafter, they have measured the length, even your weight. And most important thing is that they have counted your fingers, your toes. So life is full of numbers, we can say that. Getting my point? Then what else? Next contest where you deal with numbers. As you grow up, you start tracking your age. Even you start tracking your income, savings. Getting my point? Okay. So throughout your life, you will be dealing with numbers. Either your age, your income, your savings, whatever it may be, you will be dealing along with your numbers only. So here in this chapter, we are going to see, or else we can say that we are going to explore the notion of numbers. What is meant by notion of numbers? We are going to explore the idea of numbers over here. Fine. Next one. Here, the real number system. In your previous class, you have studied about natural number, whole number, integers. Fine. Then rational number, irrational number. This all comes under your real number. Fine. If we go through this set diagram, here you can see that the first one is natural number. Here it is natural number. You can see that here it is natural number. This natural number, what exactly mean by natural number? You all know that all the countable numbers are called as natural number and it is denoted by n. Fine. Natural numbers are included in, you can see that natural numbers are included in whole number. What are natural numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which we can count. And what is whole number? Whole number is natural numbers along with 0. Getting my point? Whole number is all the natural numbers along with 0 is called as whole number and it is denoted by W. So here you can see that natural numbers are included in whole numbers. Getting my point? Now next set you can see that this all whole number is included in integers. What is integers? Negative number along with whole number, or else I'll simplify this definition. Negative number, positive number along with 0 is called as integers. So natural numbers are included in whole number. Whole numbers are included in integers. Thereafter, you can see that these integers are also included in rational numbers. What all rational numbers are? Rational numbers are the numbers which are represented in the form of P by Q. So this is what? If it is minus 1 by 5, we can write this as minus 1 by 5 by 1. See, whatever be the decimals, we can convert the decimals into a rational number. Fine. So rational numbers which we can represent in P by Q form. Now you can see that after this rational number, there is a big set. What exactly it is? It's a set of real numbers which includes along with rational number, even irrational numbers are also there. What is mean by irrational numbers? All the root values are called as irrational number. All the root values are called as irrational number. Where exactly this rational number is not a perfect square of any of the number. Fine. Even irrational number includes your value pi also. Or else if I go for elaboration of irrational number, you must and should know that irrational numbers are non-terminating, non-repeating decimals. The numbers which we can't, we can say that the numbers which the division process where exactly the division does not comes to an end. Okay, and in the quotient numbers does not get repeated, that is called as irrational number. So altogether we can say that this all comes under real number. So we can say that real number is a set of rational and irrational. And here the rational number includes these all things. Rational number includes integer, whole number and natural number. Got it? Fine. Next one. Now here you can see that theorem 1.1. What exactly is the theorem? Euclid's division lemma. What Euclid's division lemma states? Given that there are two positive integers a and b. Given that there are two positive integers a and b. When there are two positive integers, there exists a unique pair of integers. That is what? Q and R. There are two positive integers, that is what? A and b. If there are two positive integers, then there exists a unique pair of Q and R which satisfy what exactly? A is equals to BQ plus R. Do you remember dividend formula? What exactly it was? Dividend is equals to divisor into quotient plus remainder. So this is nothing but that only. If A is your dividend, B is your divisor, and Q stands for quotient and R stands for your remainder. Getting my point? So this is nothing but your dividend formula, we can say that. Coming back to Euclid's division lemma, if there are two positive integers A and B, there exists a unique pair of integers, that is what? Q and R, satisfying the equation A is equals to BQ plus R. Fine. A is equals to BQ plus R, where R can take the values 0 less than R, R less than B. Getting my point? Fine. Now by using this Euclid division lemma, what exactly we have derived? We have derived the technique to find out the highest common factor, or else we can say that derive the technique to find out HCF of two numbers, and that is called as Euclid's division algorithm. Euclid's division algorithm is a technique through which we can find out the highest common factor, or else HCF between the given two numbers. Okay, beta. Next one. Now here, see, imagine there are two cans. Before going for any of the topic, you should know what exactly is the concept of this. Fine. Suppose there are two cans. Fine. Two cans which is full of milk, and the capacity of the can is 100 liter and 60 liter. Two cans we are using, okay, which is filled with milk, completely filled with milk, and the capacity of the two cans is 100 liter and 60 liter. Then what should be the maximum capacity of a measuring jar? See, now we have to measure this milk which are there in the can. So what will be the maximum capacity of a measuring jar through which we can measure the milk completely without any milk left in the can? Getting my point? See, what will be the capacity, maximum capacity of the measuring jar? Measuring jar capacity we have to find out, so that there should not be, when you measure the milk inside the can, so there should not be any milk left out in the can. Getting my point? Fine. So you have to choose the measuring jar in such a way that you can measure whatever the milk is there in the can in a proper way. There should not be any milk left out in the can. Fine. Suppose, to find the solution, let us imagine that the following ways. Fine. The first, we go along with the measuring cylinder or else measuring jar of 60-liter jar we are using. Fine. We are using 60 liter of measuring jar to measure what? 100-liter can, whatever the milk is there inside that 100-liter can. So what exactly we can do, as we are going along with 60 liters of measuring jar. So we can pour the milk which is there inside 100-liter can in the 60-liter measuring jar. So what left out? You can see that 40 liter of milk will remain inside the 100-liter can. So for the next one, we can't measure this 40 liter with 60-liter jar. Yes, we can measure. But the thing is that we should require the measuring jar should be filled completely with the milk. For that, second case, if we measure the milk with 40-liter jar, if we measure this again milk with 40-liter jar. So two cans we are having, 60-liter can and 100-liter can. So in this case, if we go for measuring milk, so what exactly the thing will happen for 60 liter? We can pour the milk in 40 liter. What will be the remaining milk in 60 liter? 20 liters left out. For this 100 liter, you can see that 2 times you can take 40, 40, then left out is 20 liter. So again, how you are going to measure that 20 liter? So this is also failed. So what exactly we have to do is, we can use a measuring jar of just 20 liter. Then what will happen? Just see here. See, if I go along with 100 liter can, so you can easily get the idea that by using this 20 liter jar, 5 times we can measure the milk which is there inside 100 liter can. Or else if you are going along with 60 liter can, you can measure this milk 3 times. 20 liter, 20 liter and 20 liter. Fine. So there won't be any milk left out in the can. Got it? So the same thing we are going to represent in the form of, next, just see here. Let us link this activity to Euclid's lemma to get HCF of 60 and 100. How we are going to find out that HCF of 60 and 100. Finally, what exactly we got in the activity? That 20 liter jar we can use to measure the milk which is there in the can of 100 liter and 60 liter. So here we can see that 100 liter can and 60 liter can we are considering as 160, and we have to find out HCF, means highest common factor. Highest common factor for both the numbers. Fine. So what exactly we are going to do is divide 100 by 60. What exactly the thing will happen? See, I'll divide 100 by 60. What you will get? 60 ones are 60. Remainder will be 40. Correct? Can I write like this? No, we can't write like this. So for that, what exactly our division lemma says that A is equals to BQ plus R. In that form, we are going to write this. If we divide 100 by 60, what exactly we are going to get? Means 100 is your dividend and 60 is your divisor. So fine, 100 is equals to 60 into, what should I use as a quotient? What should I use as a quotient? See, if I go along with 60 into 2, so what it will be? It will be 120, but we require 100. So for that, you should go along with the smaller number. Fine. Now, if I go along with 60 into 1, go for the division part. So 60, okay, 100 is your dividend. So 60 ones are 60. What left out? You can see that 40 is your remainder. So can I write 60 into 1 plus 40? Okay, understood this one? So divide 100 by 60 and the remainder is 40. Okay, now next step, by using divisor. What is the divisor now? 60 is the divisor. By using divisor, 60 as dividend and a remainder 40 as your divisor. Getting my point? For the next step, your divisor 60 will be the dividend and remainder 40 will be the divisor. So how you are going to write this? 60 is equals to, your divisor is 40 into, now if I go along with 40 twos are, it will give you 80. So that will be more than 60. So if I go along with 40 into 1, again the remainder comes to be 20. Getting my point? So here, next step. So what exactly we have done here? We have applied, what we have applied? Euclid division algorithm. So by applying Euclid's division algorithm, we got this. Now again the same step we are going to repeat. Repeat the steps until we get a remainder as 0. Till we get the remainder 0, we have to repeat this process. Now again, this divisor will be new dividend and remainder will be your divisor. So 40 is equals to 20 into, now if I go along with 20 ones are 20. So you can see that remainder will be 20. So can I go along with 20 into 2? 20 twos are 40. So remainder comes to be 0. Fine. Once you got the remainder as 0, you can stop doing this process, as remainder is 0. We can stop this process. Fine. We can stop this process. Hence, HCF of 160 is, what you got? 20. When you have divided the whole numbers which are there with last finally 20, you got the remainder as 0. So here the HCF is 20. Hope that you all understood this.